Craft, an activity involving skill and making things by hand. Farnham is a craft town, and in 2020 it was England's first to be awarded World Craft City status. While this has been earned in recent years, its crafting history can be traced back to the prehistoric times when nomadic tribes of early humans used local deposits of flint to manufacture tools, a process known as flint knapping. Tools were created with a specific purpose to begin with. The craft of making tools was passed from one generation to the next as a means of survival. These arrowheads would be used for hunting. A hand axe was used to dig up root vegetables. As people's skills developed and new materials were used, items became both practical and decorative. This gold ring, dated to the Bronze Age and found in Cranley, was used to fasten clothing and convey status. Pottery in Farnham can be traced to the Roman period in Great Britain. Kilns from the area produced a grey ware pottery that has been found throughout the south-east of England and dates between the 1st to the 4th century AD. The craft continued into the medieval period, with kilns sites discovered in Farnham and nearby Wrecklesham. In 1872, Absalom Harris took ownership of this pottery and eventually began to produce Farnham greenware, which is perhaps the most iconic style of pottery to come from the town. By creating a lead glaze that turned green with the addition of copper oxide, the pottery began producing art pottery, with animal shapes being popular. This owl style became synonymous with Farnham pottery and was produced up until the 1950s. Ancient Egyptians and Chinese civilizations were skilled woodworkers, creating beautiful furniture, musical instruments and even buildings from wood. In Farnham, this craft can be seen in the timber frames of buildings in the town centre, and even some of the work originating here can be found in London. The 14th century hammer beam roof of Westminster was commissioned by Richard II in 1393 and took 4 years to build. It is the largest medieval roof in Northern Europe, and documents tell us that the roof was built at a place called the Frame in Farnham. The wood for the beams was collected from woods in Hampshire. The beam was removed in 1920 when being repaired. You can still see marks of the workers' tools. This is a wood plane, also known as a hand plane, used since the Egyptians. Early examples are rudimentary simple wooden blocks fastened to the soles of blades, giving greater control of the cutting. A carpenter's square is used to help determine right angles. It is first found in the text in 1250, simply being described as a tool for measuring right angles. The earliest example of a hand brace came from a ship that sunk in 1545. Their design has improved over time, allowing the drill bit to be interchangeable. Working with textiles to create beautiful handbags, dresses and quilts is craft at its best. The museum's collection holds many examples of wonderful textile work, such as this reticule. A reticule is a small drawstring bag carried by women. They became popular when pockets were no longer sewn into dresses and skirts. This Victorian reticule is embroidered in a floral pattern. It is made up of small, colourful beads, each hand-stitched to form the pattern. Dressmaking has developed over time, with new styles emerging and designs becoming more elaborate. This simple yet beautiful green silk dress was made between 1827 and 1829. It originally belonged to the daughter of a ranger of Alice Holt Forest. Hand-sewn throughout, it is made of silk and white cotton plain weave. The weave gathered around the neck is likely a later addition to the dress. The dress could have been made at home or by a local dressmaker. Dating to the 19th century, this black and cream velvet dress originally had a lace collar which was held up around the chin by whalebones. Quilting is a time-consuming craft that takes great attention to detail. This quilt from the museum's collection was made by Esther Ann Peters, 1928 to 1903, as a present for her grandchild Marjorie Jane Orchard. It is a patchwork quilt with lots of different pieces of fabric delicately hand-sewn together. Attached to the quilt are handcrafted fabric flowers with a variety of creatures. Also hand-sewn into the quilt are biblical quotations such as "Do jocking love mercy and walk with thy God."